Roll for Crit is made possible thanks to the support of viewers like you and our patrons on our Patreon page.
You can become a patron for just $1 a month at patreon.com/rollforcrit.
It's the week of September 28th, 2020, and as the leaves fall, so do the Kickstarters. Let's see which ones land gracefully on this week's Kickstarter Pickstarter.
Dungeon Fighter is getting a new edition from Horrible Guild. This is a cooperative dexterity game. You are traversing through a dungeon and fighting monsters along the way, but how you're fighting those monsters is via dice being thrown at a target. You must throw the dice in such a way that they bounce at least one time on the table before landing on the target, and depending on which area of the target they land in, that will determine how much damage you do to the monster. But if you miss the target, then the monster will attack you back, and occasionally there are going to be weird challenges that you have to do, like maybe you have to have your eyes closed while you throw the die, or maybe you have to throw from a certain distance away from the table. All kinds of different things that could pop up. This one has some new additions from the older versions. Now there's going to be more choices as to where you progress, how you progress through the dungeon. You have special abilities here, so if your die lands on a certain face, you will have access to that ability, and as you go on through the game, that ability will become more powerful, so it'll be more likely that you get to trigger it. So there's sort of a light progression as you progress through each game. And there are 4 different versions of Dungeon Fighter in this Kickstarter. Each one is a standalone set that has its own unique monsters and heroes, as well as different kinds of props and things that your dice might be bouncing off of or into. And you can just get one and play them like that, or you can mix and match all of them if you want. And I do like the idea of that. I think it's cool in theory, maybe a little annoying if you're someone who likes to collect everything and have access to everything, to feel like you have to like choose one of these, or that you have to go all in and get all of them. But potentially a cool idea, and I do think it's seems like a fun party game. Haven't had the chance to play the original, but I'm pretty intrigued by this new version of it.
I do remember the older ones. I think they had like each one was based on an element. Like one was fire, one was water. Is there any kind of theme like that with these?
Kind of. I don't know if it's specifically like that, but one of them does seem to like kind of have a lava thing going on. One is about ice. So yeah, I guess maybe that is what it is, like different environments, sort of. It's like you might have like a lava wall, or maybe it was an ice wall and a lava something. There's a waterfall in one.
I hope if you mix them up, they do silly things like if you throw the fire dice and it touches the water space, it's automatically illegal or something silly like that.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how
it seems to fit.
Yeah, if you just like throw them in however you want or set them up, or they have special rules for it. But it seems cool. If you want to go in for it, it's around $41 for one of these. So a little pricey if you're getting more than one. It will start to add up. But you can see how many copies you want, if any. It's Dungeon Fighter.
Thunderstone Quest is back with 2 new expansions, Darkness Rising and Miracel's Return. These are, of course, new expansions for the Thunderstone Quest line, and in these expansions, Darkness Rising, you will have to fight an evil Dark Lord who is siphoning the life force from a pocket dimension. And this Dark Lord in particular sort of became corrupted by pulling on darkness powers, which you will have the option to, but be careful, everything comes with a price. Now, Miracel's Return is closing up her story arc in which she is now attacking, and not only is she attacking with her own little set of minions, but she has her own set of corrupted heroes from previous Thunderstone quest lines. You will have to play with ragtag outcasts, so I guess whoever's left, in order to try and stop her. Now, we have talked about Thunderstone Quest on this channel before. There's a review, and if you look at the Kickstarter page, a how to play. They put ours on there. I'm so proud.
we don't make a big deal out of it. We have to act cool, like this just happens all the time. Obviously they put our how to play on there. It's the best one there is.
It's a deck building game that has a lot of different modes. There's the storyline, like I seem to imply with some of the expansions, but they also allow you usually to play these if you just want to do them like standalone sets. It's not too difficult at all, and it has a lot of different weird things. The last one added a barricade mode, which changed up how you went through the dungeon versus defending the town. And this seems to be more about adding those choices of like, is it worth it to get that extra power and at what cost?
Yeah, Thunderstone Quest is one that we really, really liked, but we haven't had the chance to play it lately. There's just so many games and so many deck building games. But I remember being really fond of the original one, and it's nice to have different ways to mix all those things up in a game like this.
That is one of the big things about it. It has a lot of ways to mix up different heroes, which modes you like, get things the way you want, whether it's the campaign or standalone. And this is AEG, so this box that they now have a box for it that is the same size as the Smash Up bigger, geekier box.
That was already the
Yeah.
original game was a big box.
Yeah, and even now, it's hard to fit everything in there. I have everything up to this, and it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. So if you like deck building games and want something that has a lot of content, this one will probably keep you happy for, well, I'd be shocked if you get bored of it.
A month, at least.
Maybe if you're locked up and that's all you do. But if you just want the expansions because you've gotten all the previous stuff, it is just $79. But if you haven't gotten any Thunderstone stuff before, for $120, you get the base game with some of the earlier quests. And of course, in the Pledge Manager, I'm sure you can add a whole lot more.
From Button Shy, we're looking at Agropolis, which is the standalone sequel to Sprawlopolis. Same type of gameplay, essentially. That one was all about players working together to build a city with just a small amount of cards on the table. This one is about building a farm. It's the agricultural version of that. You are working together, so you're trying to play cards in certain ways to score as many points as you can. Depending on which scoring cards come out, there will be different ways to score, so you might want certain types of areas and different positions in the field, but you're not allowed to talk to each other about specifically what's in your hand. So you're trying to communicate with that caveat in mind and place things where they need to go. You'll also lose points for every road that is placed because you don't want to have a big busy highway. It's supposed to be a nice peaceful farm. The original Sprawlopolis, these are both these wallet games, so there's only 18 cards in them, although Sprawlopolis has had a lot of expansions since then. But they're both smaller games. They are good for solo play, and this one picks up pretty much where that one left off, except that there's brand new ways to score in it. That's really the biggest thing, and there's also a separate expansion, which you will get if you back this, which allows you to combine both games together so you can build a farm and city combo. But these Button Shy games, we talk about them a lot every time because they pump them out so quickly, it seems. But they're small and they're easy to play. And Sprawlopolis is definitely, I think, the one that I've heard the most positive acclaim. That seems to be the one that really took off above all the other ones. So this seems like kind of more of the same, but not in a bad way.
Well, that's pretty good. And even though we're maybe not going around as much, it's still nice to have some of these small games around. I mean, there are how many games at this point? I keep asking. And
there's over 60,
Yeah,
I believe, right now. Yeah, it's a lot.
I know there was that tote bag, if I recall, just a little while back. So you could at least carry some of them with you.
Yeah, and this has a good solo mode, so that's still worthwhile in these times. And of course, you can back just Agropolis for $10, which comes with that expansion as well. Or you can increase your pledge to get Sprawlopolis too, or even to get that tote bag or more of their wallet games.
Patch Escape brings us Mother of Frankenstein, which is a take-home escape room game based on the creator of Frankenstein. No, not Dr. Frankenstein, the actual author, Mary Shelley. This take-home escape room experience is all about her story. You will get letters from her or letters she sent out to her lover and find out the mystery behind her. Maybe you have to rearrange them to solve what's going on. And there will be an actual puzzle, literally, that's over 300 pieces you have to assemble, including rings you may have to rotate. You may have to chart some stars or look at the biology of animals. It's this crazy escape room that has such a great idea for a theme that's maybe not just straight up Frankenstein, but adjacent, maybe even more important in Mary Shelley. She actually has a really weird, interesting life as well. And, in terms of the escape room people, they apparently are behind Lab Rat, which is apparently ranked number 12 in escape rooms in the United States, which is, that's a pretty big deal. And, we love these kinds of escape room things. The theme itself already grabs me. It's not just, like I said, Dr. Frankenstein and the monster. It's got Mary Shelley, which is more of that gothic, which I think could be really cool. And looking at the puzzle too and stuff, it looks like they have a lot of crazy ideas that will really, for you to sink your teeth into.
There's something very fun about this kind of like exploring the life of the author. I feel like I've seen it before with in some form in some medias with like H.P. Lovecraft or even maybe Arthur Conan Doyle, like where it's like go beyond the story and they also had a crazy life behind the scenes and what mysteries was that about. And that can be a fun thing that kind of feels like you're delving into like a pastime in a way that something is still fantastical, but maybe it could have happened, sort of, some of this stuff. I think that's pretty fun. I don't know who's going around ranking every escape room in America. I'd be curious to find out more about that person, but number 12, that's pretty good. So yeah, I think it sounds like fun.
I wouldn't be surprised too if one of the puzzles is actually going to literally involve a book of Frankenstein. Now my question is, are they going to be clever enough to just use a regular version?
It should come with it.
Right. No, but I mean, like, will they actually have a weird one? It's like the first draft, and they actually change some things around for a puzzle.
That'd be cool.
We'll have to see. Now, if you want the full experience, it is $89, but there is a lower pledge level where you can actually get a digital version of one of the puzzles early on, so you can try that out and see if you enjoy it.
Our last pick today from Opa Games is Big Monster. This is a tile drafting game in a sci-fi setting wherein players are exploring an alien planet filled with crazy monsters, and you are trying to put those monsters down in front of you on different tiles, and they will score differently for you depending on what they are. So some of them you might want more, some of them might need to be combined with other tiles, and of course how you place them and where they're being placed matters because you have to put them down adjacent to a previously existing monster. So that kind of a thing. And then once you have placed one of the tiles in your hand, you will pass those tiles to another player, as it is, as I said, a drafting game. But what makes this one very unique amongst drafting games is that you don't just have to pass it to your left or your right. You can pass it to whoever you want. So you could look around at other players' fields and actually decide, oh, I have a bunch of things that wouldn't help that person, so I would rather give these tiles over to them instead of someone else. And there's even a team-based mode. So in that mode, you are trying to help your partner score more. So the opposite would be in effect. You would say, oh, I have a bunch of tiles that will help them, so I'm going to pass these to them instead. And it's also a real-time thing going on. So you want to be quick. You can't like spend too much time placing your tile. You have to be fast, or you'll be punished for being too slow. Now, this is actually a game that was kickstarted already a couple years back. I had never heard of it before, but this is a slightly updated edition. I think for the most part it's the same game, but it now has like a new insert and some slightly updated artwork and stuff like that. But I really, really like the concept of that, and it's something that seems very obvious to me now that I hear about it, like for a drafting game, but I had never heard of another game doing it.
Well, my question about that is, because this would be the one thing I worried about with this style of drafting, is what happens if everyone ignores one player? Or do you have to like force if one person still has one chip?
That's a good question. I haven't fully perused the rules, but I imagine that like once somebody has a stack of tokens, you can't
there
give
could be
them a
some
second stack
that.
of tiles. Yeah. There's a lot of really big reviews for it. Jamie Stegmaier has a whole video where he talks about it. Actually, he had another video for about Sprawlopolis too. That was so. Jamie Stegmaier is he's popping on these Kickstarters these days, just
We're
like
on
us.
sync with him.
Yeah,
which is
hold on. A lot in common.
I'm trying to get the next expansion. Something's blocking me. Oh,
yeah,
too late.
You tried. Anyway, if you want to check out Big Monster, you can for just $30. You can get the standard set. They also have a deluxe version on there, so take a look.
New additions, expansions, and escape rooms. Oh my. So many great Kickstarters for you to choose from. Let us know, of course, if there's anything you thought that was really cool about these, or if there's a Kickstarter we missed. Now, it would be a shame not to also tell you we're currently running a contest for Small World of Warcraft. You can go to the link down below for the Roll For It contest and sign up to win a chance of the game. We will have a review of the game out shortly, hopefully by the end of this week.
Yes, but hey, it's free, so even if we didn't like the game, you might as well go there and try to win a copy. And we're very grateful if you do that, or if you watch any of our videos. Also, stay tuned, because of course we're going to have other videos throughout the week, including possibly some streaming for the month of October. I'm going to be trying to put in some Resident Evil video game time.
Things are about to get spooky here.
Yes, it's going to get spooky, so stay tuned, follow us on social media, all that good stuff. We always have links in the description, because you want to be right there with us as we announce and unveil new things that you want to be a part of. Thanks so much for watching, and please, in the comments, let us know if there's anything that we forgot to mention or anything you'd like to see us do in the future.
And just as you said, while you can click those links to follow us, we want to hear from you. This is a two-way street. It's fun. We want to pretend we're actually allowed to be with people.
It's the closest thing to human contact we have at this point. Well, we got to go, but until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Roll for Crit.
If you want to help out, you can check out our Patreon, or a simple click to like and subscribe can go a long way.
We really appreciate everything that you can do for us. We love you.